Thank you, Tim. Some of you here know me fairly well and know that I'm not unaccustomed to standing behind a music stand. But I have to tell you that I've never stood behind a music stand with a laptop sat on it. This is an important occasion, and I'm very pleased to have been offered the opportunity to give a perspective from an independent parent-carer-led organisation. That alone, I believe, indicates that this launch is different. That should come as no surprise, since, as most of you know, the development of the SEND strategy itself has not been typical. And I think it's quite right too, as parent carers and families have had a major role in its development. I would like to explain in the little time that I have of the way FACE worked in partnership to support this involvement and engagement, and also tell you a little about FACE itself, what it is, how it works, and maybe a few observations along the way. To begin with FACE, Families Acting for Change in Essex will have its 5th birthday during 2014. No one seems to know quite which date during the year, but I think the summer works very well for a party. So watch this space. The organisation has changed a lot since it was first formed, but has held true to a key objective defined when FACE was first created: to engage with families who have a child with a disability and represent their views and experiences, working in partnership for positive change. To flesh that out a little, I often repeat a quotation that was made by a parent carer at an early meeting about FACE, and I'll do so again. As parents of a child with a disability, all we want is a bit of normality. To go to the park, to go shopping, to go to school, to have days out, to be included, to have choices. At the time this was said, 5 years ago, it seemed a radical thought, but it is now much more mainstream. Indeed, the joint concepts of inclusion and choice, as we've heard from Brian, are central to the reforms. In simple terms, FACE works to remove the barriers to make that possible. To do this, FACE has become expert at engaging in a variety of ways with families and in finding opportunities to represent what we learn by doing so. Most importantly, by working strategically with our local authority and partner health organisations, FACE aims to ensure that the outcome of decisions being taken are fully considered, the impact upon real lives is understood and respected, and whenever possible, a process of engagement with end users is adopted. Of course, this process works both ways. For example, FACE is often involved in helping to draft methods of communication to ensure that they are parent-friendly. A wide range of families feed into FACE who live throughout the county and from all walks of life, some of whom may find it difficult for whatever reason to articulate their views. But it is important that all opinions, however they are articulated, are respected and valued, and that all families have the opportunity to express them. It is this approach which forms the background to work which FACE undertook relating to developing the SEND strategy. So, working in partnership. I don't need to comment here that the world of SEN, as Brian's Mays indicated, is complicated and confusing. And as we have heard, change is a-coming, which to say the least is potentially unsettling and stressful for all involved. But it is also very exciting and full of potential. This is generational change. It is about changing policy and procedure, but most importantly, it is about a shift in culture. With this backdrop, in my view, it has never been more important, maybe imperative, that all stakeholders work together. For me, working in partnership requires some key components. A common purpose, a shared vision, and shared objectives is critical. A collaborative approach, a partnership where all opinions are equally valued. An ability to compromise, an understanding your co-partner's position on a range of topics is important. Mutual respect goes without saying, I think, and sometimes a large dollop of tenacity. It is possible. It is very pleasing to report that from the outset, our local authority project team have adopted an approach conducive to partnership working. Let me explain this in a little more detail. The first involvement which FACE had with the project was as members of the SEN advisory group, with work initially focused on the proposed online consultation. As an aside, it is good to see representatives of our brother and sister organisations from the third sector here today, who have shared much of this journey with us and were also members of the advisory group. Representations made by that group led to significant changes in the consultation, particularly in the language which was used. However, FACE felt that the plans did not go far enough, and to ensure the widest possible participation in the consultation, more work was needed. And we approached the project team with a proposal which was accepted and encouraged. The FACE plan had three main objectives: to raise awareness of the consultation, to give families alternative methods to give their views. There are many reasons which mean that an online consultation will only capture some families' views, from the obvious that a family has no computer or internet connection, to the less obvious that a family may lack confidence that their views will remain confidential. And we set out to capture more information. I only have time now to give you a flavour of the project. But FACE trained 12 parent carers, a number of who are here today. We created a leaflet to promote the consultation based upon texting SEN to our mobile number, which was quite fun, as well as a practical way of achieving it. We used social media. The leaflets were distributed, face-to-face meetings held, and phone call consultations conducted. FACE also created an easy-read version, which was used mainly on email, but also face-to-face. Anne-Marie will shortly quote chapter and verse on the fine detail of the consultation. And it is difficult for us to be precise about the impact of the FACE project. But we do know that we had personal contact with over 250 families, and the vast majority of them completed the consultation. And over 50% of those families, I believe the final figure was 135, completed a paper version directly with us. As well as a strong example of partnership working, this project for FACE was of great significance. For the first time, we were able to offer parent carers paid work rather than rely upon volunteer time. And this supported us in creating a new model for future work. This is very exciting and touches on another FACE key objective, which is empowering families to take charge of their lives. FACE believes that the opportunity to be valued through paid work, even if only for a few hours a week, can be a profound benefit. If time permitted, I would detail the way this project evolved, with further examples of partnership working, which included FACE being a full part of the various engagement events. providing personal support to parent carers, attending the events, acting as table facilitators, as well as FACE presenting at several of them. And partnership working continues, with FACE playing a full part, serving on all the various work streams relating to the work preparing for the full implementation of the reforms. I would be glad to tell you more about this work, either over a sandwich today or on another occasion. My colleagues from FACE will also be pleased to explain more about our work, and everyone here has been involved in this project. You will recognise my colleagues through the distinctive yellow badges, and the fact that some of us look a bit haggard, having just recovered from the Christmas New Year break with our young people. It's an opportunity for me publicly today to thank the team. Many of our folk who work with FACE have very complicated lives, being primary carers for their young people, but they find time and the commitment to work with FACE, and it's very much appreciated. But before I finish, just a final few comments. I believe partnership working is here to stay. The genie is well and truly out of the bottle, and it won't be going back. It's not always easy. Issues have to be worked through and compromises made. But the rewards are great. It is worth reminding ourselves that while great progress has been made, this is only the start of the journey. And it is a journey and not a destination. And the new strategy, whilst very important, is but the first step. And certainly for FACE, I can say that the job will not be done until a person-centred and partnership working approach is embedded throughout Essex. And that we are all working together in partnership with families and our young people at the centre. This will require bucket loads of the tenacity of which I spoke and the personal commitment of everyone in this room. Thank you for listening. I'm personally looking forward with great optimism and belief that this can all be achieved.